4.5 on slope. It tells you how to find slope in this box. That lowercase m is what we're going to use for an abbreviation for slope. To find your slope, you're going to subtract your y coordinates in any order you want. And then subtract your x coordinates in the same order for the denominator. That's how you get your rise over your run. They show you how to do an example. Find the slope of the line passing through the given points. So it's important to identify your x values and your y values. Your x values are the first number in each ordered pair. Your y values are the second numbers. And this obviously helps if you struggle identifying those. So we're going to find the slope of this line. Our slope is a fraction where we're going to subtract two numbers in the numerator and subtract two numbers in the denominator. Remember, slope is rise over run. Change in rise, change in y's over changes in x's. So we're going to subtract the y values and put them up top. And it doesn't matter if you do -4 minus 12 or 12 minus -4. It's totally up to you. Once you select 12 minus -4, then your x values must go in that same order. So for your x's, 8 and -2, you need to subtract them in that same order. Now at this point, you may need a calculator to help yourself. Subtracting negatives sometimes really confuses people. There's nothing wrong with using a calculator. 12 minus -4 is like 12 plus 4. 8 minus -2 is like 8 plus 2. That's your slope, 16 over 10. Now that is not reduced. I'm going to take a second and type this into the calculator just so you can see how to do that if you're not sure. I'm going to use parentheses to put my y values in because I'm going to divide a numerator with a denominator. So I'm going to do 12 minus -4. Notice how the subtraction sign is different than the negative sign. Subtraction, negative. There's a difference. We're going to divide that by the x values. 8 minus -2. And that gives you 1.6, which is exactly what 16 divided by 10 is. But it's not reduced. We want this to be in a reduced fraction. That's not even a fraction. Hit this math button. Hit this math button. And then change it to a fraction. Your slope is 8/5. You have a rise and a run. We'll do the same thing for number 6. Let's find the slope. So you're going to subtract the y values on top and divide by the x's subtracted on the bottom. Make sure you subtract them in the same order that you subtracted the y's. Our y values are 0 and 10. I'm going to go in the other direction here, 0 minus 10. Now I'm going to subtract my x's in the same order. So we'll do 7 minus -17. 0 minus 10 is -10. 7 minus -17, that's like 7 plus 17. That gives you 24. Again, that's not reduced. So let's say you got that far. -10 24ths. You can change that, just hit the math button to a reduced fraction. -5/12. That's your slope. Next section. Find the slope of a line parallel to the line passing through each pair of points. Then find the slope of a line perpendicular to the line passing through each pair of points. So there's two things to do. Actually, three things. You got to find this slope. Then you need to write down a slope of a line that's parallel to that and the slope of a line that's perpendicular to that. So let's start by just finding our slope. So we're going to subtract y's and subtract x's, then divide them. I'm going to do -10 minus -3. On the bottom, I have to start with the 6. 6 minus 9. -10 minus -3. That's like -10 plus 3. It gives you -7. 6 minus 9 is -3. You have a negative divided by a negative. So that's a positive. The slope of this line is 7/3. Now we're going to use these skills a lot. You want a line that's going to be parallel to this one. Well, what would the slope be of this line parallel to it if this line has a slope of 7/3? It's going to be exactly the same. Parallel lines have the same slope, so you don't need to make any changes. The changes that you need to make are when the lines are perpendicular. So if the slope of this line is 7/3, what's the slope of a line that's perpendicular to that? Well, they're opposite reciprocals. So the first thing you're going to do is change the sign on the fraction. So instead of it being positive, make it negative. That way one's going this way and one's going that way. When you change the sign, that's what that means. Reciprocal means if you have a 7/3 slope, you're flipping the fraction. So instead of 7/3, make it 3/7. Opposite reciprocals.